Hello everyone, today I'm going to explain the Model 1, Clear Content and Language Integrated Learning. The main purpose of the assessment with CLIL is to improve not just the skill in the language, but also to the knowledge of the subject that is also taking a part of the learning process, and in this case it is important to understand that assessing language skills through a subject like science helps students to engage in real-world context, making the learning process more meaningful. According to Baby Yu Wo and Hoppen 2023, CLIL facilitates a dual-focus learning process. Basic grammar. The general presentation. Welcome to English Grammar for Everyday Communication AI Power Learning, a dynamic 4-week MOOC designed to transform your understanding and application of basic English grammar through engaging interactive lessons and simulations. You'll master essential grammar concepts like verb, tense, sentence structure, and modal verbs. Learning objectives. Understand and apply basic English grammar concepts, verb tense, sentence structure, parts of speech. Develop practical skills in reading, listening, speaking, and writing in English. Apply English grammar in real-life scenarios and conversation. Enhance digital literacy and engagement with technology and change learning. The general contents. Duration 4 weeks. Explanation basics of T. Week 1. Foundation of English grammar. Building your grammatical base. 1. Activity 1. Parts of speech and sentence structure. Interactive lesson. 2. Assessment activity. Activity 1. AI and change sentence building quiz. Activity 2. Introduction to verb tense, present simple, and continuous. Assessment activity. Activity 2. Voice activated verb tense practice. General assessment week 1. Weekly grammar journal. The week 2. Mastering past and future tense. Expanding your temporal grammar. Activity 1. Past simple and past continuous. Interactive exercise. Assessment activity 1. AI. Generate story completion. Activity 2. Future simple and going to conversational practice. Assessment activity. Activity 2. AI. Power role play recording. General assessment week 2. Time travel scenario. Week 3. Modal verbs and conditional sentence. Expressing possibility and conditions. Activity 1. Modal verbs can, could, should, must. Assessment activity. Activity 1. AI driven modal verbs scenario analysis. Activity 2. Conditional sentence. Type 1 and 2. Assessment activity. Activity 2. AI generate conditional sentence practice. General assessment week 3. Advice column. In week 4. Complex sentence structures and review. Polishing your grammatical skills. Activity 1. Complex sentence. Relative clause conjunctions. Assessment activity. Activity 1. AI exchange text editing. Activity 2. Review and application real-life scenarios. Assessment activity. Activity 2. AI driving conversational simulation. General assessment week 4. Final project. My Day in English. Information. Aligned with SDG 17 Partnerships for the Goals, collaborative assessment is an assessment strategy that is based on students' teamwork to evaluate their learning. According to Collazos, Ochoa y Mendoza, 27, It is not just about placing a group of students to perform a task. Choosing to follow a form of collaborative work is not simply placing a group of people around a common activity. It is necessary to design activities that lead to true collaboration among its members. They are required to assume related roles, which complement each other, despite being different to achieve the proposed objective. Therefore, participants should work in small groups and with a common goal. This objective must be closely linked by the individuals so that each one can achieve it, and only if the others also achieve it. The objective: improve learning and develop social and teamwork skills, develop social and communication skills, promote a mutually supportive environment, develop critical thinking and argumentation skills, develop leadership skills, develop autonomy, improve knowledge retention, and promote a diverse and inclusive environment. The duration is 3 weeks. The evaluative activities: grammatical base 1 week. The first week: discussion in pairs or groups complementing shared tasks in pairs or groups, such as matching, sorting, or classifying. Second week: creating collaborative projects, skill sharing workshops, and the 3-week role-playing games, poster creation. Thank you.
Okay, welcome to the Technology Enhanced Assessment of the Mooc model. In this video, we are going to dive into the different aspects during the development of this model. All the information, all the steps that we carried out to get this result. Passing through different steps like choosing the topic, looking for information, looking up information, and the creation process. So it was an interesting activity that allows us to know deeply the content of the characteristic of this kind of assessment. We have to consider 3 different reasons: love for technology, personal experience, and the real possibilities that this kind of assessment offers for educational field. So, during the creation process, we consider the information after choose the topic that will be included in the content. So that was a careful process in which we have to discard some aspects. So as I told you before, we first picked up the topic and then follow the direction that we saw in the guidelines of the different tasks of the course. Now, in this video, you can see the main aspect that the model contains. And this is the first view, that is the first version of this model. You can see the general presentation and all the aspect of general contents, all the basic information of the TEI. And finally, we include a quiz that pretend evaluate the knowledge that the users get from the course. The second phase was all the development process. we include the information in the different parts of the model, consider their important and if they are relevant or not. So we have to search information in different sources and consider what information put into the course and what information we have to discard. In this second video, you are going to see all the main aspects and was the general content we include in the first version of the course. In the third phase, we carried out an evaluation process with different users that tried the course and give us a feedback in order to enhance the experience with the model. So we are going to review the practicum highlights. So in this final video is the final result of the course. We include a graphic, mind map with the main aspect to summary all the main aspect of the course to make the information more accessible to the users. And we create a new section when we include two videos with the basic information, one video created for us and another that we found in YouTube, and we modified some questions of the quiz and enhance all the experience. So the impact of the activity was great and was huge for my personal growing. All the user experience that from the people that use the course. So one of the aspects I want to highlight with this video is all the improvement suggestions we receive after the trial or version. All the users prove the trial version of this model. So all the result was positive, I think, and we received different opinions from the user in a good way. They give us a good feedback to take in account to consider different aspects of our course, and finally we obtain a good result, a final product that is well designed and with the corresponding adjustment and the corresponding characteristic of this kind of course, Mooc course. Thank you for your attention.
Hi everyone, I hope you are very well. My name is Laura Natalia Romero Palmar. In this video, I'm going to talk about the activity of the testing and evaluation in ELT. This activity with the group 83. This is the Mooc. This is the first page. we can find the new trends in testing and evaluation in ELT. Okay, in the module 3, we can find the collaborative assessment. In this space, we can find the information, the more important of this trend. This trend is aligned with SDG 17 partnerships for the goals. This trend have objectives as improve learning and develop social and teamwork skills, develop social and communication skills, promote a mutually supportive environment, develop critical thinking and argumentation skills, develop leadership skills, develop autonomy, improve knowledge retention, promote a diverse and inclusive environment. Are these objectives of the collaborative assessment trend? Okay, now all page from the Mooc, and in the same module 3 we can find the collaborative assessment quiz. This quiz about information in the page. Okay, the first question 1, which sustainable development goal is collaborative assessment aligned with? These are the options. What is the correct answer? And the question number 2, what is collaborative assessment? These are these the option. What is the correct? The question number 3, the following are objectives of collaborative assessment, true or false? And the last question, the question number 4, according to author Collazos Ochoa Mendoza, 27, it is not just about placing a group of students to perform a task. Choosing to follow a form of collaborative work is not simply placing a group of people around a common activity. It is necessary to design activities that lead to true collaboration among its members. They are required to assume related roles which complement each other despite being different to achieve the proposed objective. Therefore, participants should work in small groups and with a common goal. This objective must be closely linked with the individual so that each one can achieve it if and only if the others also achieve it. This sentence is true or is false. Okay, is all for today. Thank you very much.
Hello everyone, my name is Laura Guillo and today I'm going to explain the Module 4, information about inclusive assessment aligned with SDG 4. The inclusive assessment aligned with Sustainable Development Goal for SDG 4 is a very important topic in education as it seeks to ensure quality education for all. Leaving no one behind, SDG 4 established by the UN promotes equitable, inclusive, and accessible education, which means that assessment should also be tailored to the needs of all students, regardless of their backgrounds, abilities, or disabilities. For my activity on this topic, I will investigate how assessment can be more inclusive and fair. Some key points I will address are principles of inclusive assessment, how tests and assessment methods can be designed to respect student diversity, strategies for inclusion, use of different formats, oral tests, projects, and portfolios instead of just writing exams, relationship with SDG 4. How well-designed assessment can contribute to quality education and reduce inequality in learning. In addition, I will analyze examples of good practices in cases in which inclusive assessment has improved student learning outcomes in different contexts. My goal with this activity is to better understand how education systems can adapt to become more equitable and ensure that all students have equal opportunities to demonstrate what they have learned. The objective is understand the concept of inclusive assessment and its importance in education to ensure that all students have equal opportunities to demonstrate their learning. Analyze the relationship between inclusive assessment and SDG 4. Highlight how this approach contributes to quality, equitable, and inclusive education. Identify inclusive assessment strategies and methodologies such as diversity assessment formats and adapting tests to meet different needs. Explore cases and best practice in the application of inclusive assessment in different educational contexts, and reflect on the importance of adapting assessment process to reduce inequalities and promote meaningful learning for all students. The activities. The week 1 English comprehension through multiple formats. Objective to access English comprehension using various methods adapted to different learning styles. The activities. Adaptive reading. Texts are offered in different difficulty levels, A1, A2, and B1, and formats writing, text, audiobook, video with subtitles. Comprehension activity. Students with auditory preference answer questions about the audiobook or video. Visual learners complete a graphic organizer with the main ideas of the text, and kinesthetic learners participate in a dramatization of the text context. Inclusive assessment. Option to answer question orally in writing or visually drawing diagram audio. The week 2 is writing and oral expression in English. The objective is to access oral and writing production in English through inclusive strategies. The activities are adapting storytelling. Students create a story in English using pictures, keywords, cards, or a guide template. Those who prefer oral expression can record an audio recording or make a short video presentation. Those who prefer writing expression can develop a short story. Inclusive assessment. Use of flexible rubrics to access creativity, coherence. And language use, prioritizing effort and personal improvement over strict grammatical errors. Option to receive feedback, video, audio, text, or conversation in English. The week 3 interaction in English through various strategies. Objective to access English communication skills by adapting the activity to different learning styles. Activity inclusive role play. Everyday situations are created: ordering food in restaurant, shopping in a store, making a hotel reservation. Students can interact in pairs or small groups using cards with cue phrases or improving according to their level. Those who prepare can write a script before participating. Inclusive assessment. Students can demonstrate their learning through a video, audio, writing stories, or a slideshow. With dialogue, effective communication is violent rather than grammatical reflection. About this model, information, cultural responsive assessment is aligned with the Sustainable Development Goals, SDG 10, reducing inequalities, recognizing the students' cultural values and impacts in their learning process, proposing real and significant multicultural contents that allows the student identity and found the teaching inclusive with their tradition and background. The purpose of this model is teaching intermediate English, taking account the cultural background of the native speakers' countries and our country. This implies the student groups, racial, ethnic identity, gender, and sexual orientation, because the idea is to avoid the inequalities from the pedagogical and educational resources aspects as the teaching learning process. The objective is practice the receptive and communicative skills with cultural topics, respect the own and foreign tradition of the countries involved, and amplify the cultural knowledge, including historical and geographical ones. The duration of this module will be developed in 3 weeks, each one with communicate and receptive activities using the technological tools and strong ally to reinforce those skills. The evaluate activities, the week 1, exploring and discovering my culture. Students must investigate about his culture, roots, and find new vocabulary. The purpose is to identify the main aspects and the influence of other cultures in our tradition and idioms. The week 2 is learning about native countries. The teacher explains the main historical and geographical aspects of native countries. Highlight the importance of this aspect or for the language colonization and how it is so important. The week 3 is listening new accents. In order to practice the receptive skills, there is a listening of different topics, but the purpose of this activity is that the listening is spoken for native people from Canada, United States, Scotland, England, Ireland, and etc. Thank you.
Hello, dear classmates. I am Juliana. As you know, I choose the culturally responsive assessment. So here, I'm going to explain you how I developed the Mooc of the group 83. So, the Mooc provides 5 different assessments in the ELT based on the SDGs. One of them is the culturally responsive assessment. The activity created in this module is directed and applies to all students, regardless of age or location, as it seeks inclusion and diversity in the educational environment. So what I wanted here is that the student could feel a safe place, his environment, his learning environment with a cultural background as an important role here. My creation process in this module is that I wanted to propose identifying the roots and the cultural backgrounds of each individual in the classroom. Here is important that besides the students in the classroom also is the teacher, and the teacher also teachers also have a cultural background, and I know that it's important to take that part into account because the teacher is the main participant in the classroom. So it is important also to have into account the teacher's cultural background and also the students. So, emphasizing the importance of being loyal to the ethnic essence. Subsequently, research is carried out in other cultures and their similarities with one's own, making the differences smaller and the unions greater. So here I want that the cultures have a, mm, a main common thing uh, among them. So if we can find out the similarities and be more united as humans, that would be great because the cultural is one of the most important things for the humankind. So in the model, you are going to find this part that the first part is the information, and here is the video that explains how the cultural responsive assessment is aligned to the Sustainable Development Goal number 10, that is reducing inequalities. So in this video, I explain this part, and also here in a few words there is a short description about the video, but the video have more uh, information about that. And here in the other part is the purpose of the model, that it is taking into account the cultural background uh, of the native speakers, countries, and our country. This implies the student's root, racial ethnic identity, gender, and sexual orientation, because the idea is to avoid the inequalities from the pedagogical and educational resources aspects as the teaching learning process. So here the important thing is that meanwhile we are learning English, we can also talk about the cultural background of the students and the ideals and how we can respect that. And this is why the student feels comfortable in his learning process. So based on that, here are the objectives. That the first one is practice the receptive and communicative skills with cultural topics, as I mentioned before. Respect the own and foreign traditions of the countries involved. So if you are in one country and you also have peers that immigrate into your country, you can understand them, and you can provide a safe environment with them in the classroom. So also amplify the cultural knowledge, including historical and geographical ones, because as we know, the uh, cultures have a huge history and a huge background, and the geographical things also are so important here. So those are the objectives of the model. After that, you are going to find the structure of the module or the activity proposed here, and the duration is for 3 weeks, and we are using technological tools for reinforce the skills. So in the week one, we are exploring and discovering my culture. Students are going to develop an investigation about his culture roots and find new vocabulary. The purpose is to identify the main aspects and the influence of the cultures and for other cultures in our traditions and idioms. So as we are one group and we are involved, we are just in one circle, big circle. We are related to another country. So we are one community, we are one world. So we have something in common with other countries. So we are finding out why and why we are so unique in the world. In week two, we are learning about native countries because as we are talking English, and the idea is to develop and reinforce the English skills, but talking about cultural responsive assessment. Um, the teacher explains the main historical and geographical aspects of native countries. Here is important to mention or that teacher just can choose a few countries, because if we are deeper inside of the all countries' history, that is a endless topic. So it is important to choose just a few ones, even taking into account that if there are students from different countries, so we can choose those countries, not all the countries. So here the importance of these aspects and the language colonization and how it is important nowadays. The purpose is learn and relation among the English native countries with our culture. So week 1 and week 2 are so related among them. And the final week 3 is listening the new accents. So as we are practicing communicative skills, it is important to take into account the different accents from different countries like Canada, United States, Scotland, England, Ireland. So that is the final week 3. Also in the module there is a short quiz with 4 questions, and if you choose the right answer, you are going to have a feedback. If you choose the wrong answer, you are not going to have a feedback. So the impact of the assessment is that the student will be able to identify with his school environment by respecting and integrating his rules and culture. At the same time, he can explain and defend his ideas in the face of ignorance in a foreign language. For example, here in Colombia, there is a strong um, um, people from other countries have a worse idea of Colombia. So if the student have the opportunity to travel to another country, he can defend Colombian culture in a foreign language. So that is the impact of the assessment, to know of his own culture in a foreign language. And the practical highlights, in the educational practice, it is evident that there are students who come from other regions of Colombia. Being such a diverse country, some cultures and traditions may clash with others. In turn, management seeks to understand these gaps and resolve potential situations. So, as we know, here in Colombia, there are a lot of immigrants from other regions and from other countries. So, yeah, in that school, there isn't a lot of cases of the intolerance about immigration or another peers that are from other countries. But also, it is important to take that into account. For that reason, the improvement suggestion for my model is explore activities that focus on one's own culture rather than those of other countries, and conduct integration activities for foster understanding and better coexistence among students. So the idea is to develop activities that can reunite students among the in the classroom. Sorry. And finally, the dissemination strategy. This, as I mentioned before, this is a plan that can be adapted to different environments and cultures, and since it is inclusive, it must be shared with more teaching colleagues around the world, and this is why virtuality is important. So it doesn't matter if you are here in Colombia or in the United States or in Chile or wherever, you can apply this cultural responsive assessment with your immediate environment, and you can adapt or change or add uh, the units you consider properly for your environment. So thank you very much.